have questions as we go through, just put them in chat and we'll get to them at the end.
Gotcha. All right, it's good enough. Perfect. So, meeting chat. I'm learning something. Yeah, that'll stop all of that stuff there. Okay. All right. For everybody that's on, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I got you. Obviously, you guys know me because your licenses are under my name. So, yeah, all is well. And so a couple of bonuses. First of all, you guys are uh, free to get free Winners Circle coaching. Now that's until the end of 2024. So because you sent in your DISC profile, okay, because that is a step one. You have to take the DISC assessment. Basically, if I don't know what your personality is, I can't coach you as efficiently as you might want. So that, and then second is you must attend the business plan meeting, and they're going to be monthly. The first one's going to be one-on-one, face to face. I need to see your some reactions or some things, and then we're going to go from there. But we're going to be meeting monthly by Zoom and things like that. But and just to make sure keep everybody accountable. Number three is you must commit to my goal of at least one settlement a month. Okay, now I know everybody on the call. I know what all of our, I'm gonna throw myself in there. All of our production is, and I'm gonna say that we need to all commit to getting one. If we have a real estate business that has at least one settlement a month, you're in business. You have a check every month, and once you have the systems in place to do that, it's a fuzzy knob that you have to turn to go to two a month, to go to three a month, to go to four. Just put in some systems and some other things that we can teach you along the way. Okay. Yeah, you have to have a really big BHAG. A BHAG is a big, hairy, audacious goal. I mean, I wanted to scare you when you, so just keep all of that in mind. And you have to have a really big why. Okay. Your why has to be personal. Your why is what's going to make you get out of bed when you don't feel like it, when your knees are hurting, and when it's just been a rough day the night before and didn't sleep well. That why is going to be what gets you out of bed. So we're going to need to do those, and I'm going to be your broker coach. So as I'm doing that, I'm letting you know now that I'm expanding the office. I'm bringing on new agents. I'm looking to help people here and go to their next level. And I'm looking for good agents. So as you know, good agents, please, please, please just let me know who they are. There are incentives, especially on the Sellstate side, that we can do. If you find a good agent, they come on board and all of that. But that's the future. Right now, we're starting this journey with you. You're on this call. If you send in your DISC assessment and things like that, I know you're serious about your business, and you are going to get my first time, because people that aren't serious aren't doing what I asked them to do. If you can't do the little things I asked you to do now, it's going to be very, very hard for you to do the tough things that you're going to have to do later on. Now, I want to introduce Andrea. Andrea, she's just all that in a bag of chips. Lady has taught real estate agents. She's recruited real estate agents. She's a big time, big deal, and she is my coach. So me and several other brokers from Sellstate are in her coaching class, and it is great. She is a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of information. I kind of alluded to, some of you know what a DISC is. Some of you don't know what a DISC is, but trust me when I tell you that having a DISC, a knowledge of the DISC personality profiles and how to use them to help people. We're not using them to burn people or get over on people. We're using them to help them reach their goals. If I can talk, and I've done this with many of you before, if I can talk maybe a little slower than I normally would, it might help another person to say, yes, I'm ready to do this. And if I talk slow normally, but I'm dealing with a person that talks very fast, I might have to just speed up my words in order to get it to them, because they have little no patience and things like that. Those type of things we're going to learn. And she's going to take the next hour teaching it to us. I say, get out all your pens, all your papers, all your everything that you can to write on and take some notes on. Andrea, you have the wheel.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you can call me Andrea, Andrea, however you want to say it. I'll answer to any of them. I'm not fancy enough to be, anything other than Andrea. So so happy to be here with you guys today. What Chuck did not mention to you is that he gets his butt whooped on the regular in our coaching calls. That is when you know you are in growth zone, is when you feel uncomfortable and you are moving things forward. So he was being nice in how he explained who I was. So thank you so much for inviting me here today. So as we are moving forward with our session today, what we are going to be talking about is how we know ourselves. And then once we know ourselves, we are able to identify the ways that people communicate that allow us to build rapport with them very, very quickly. I'm going to share my screen. And here we go. All right, so we're going to figure out what your communication superpower is. And your disc, let me start with this. Your disc is not your personality. Your disc is just the behavior with which you communicate with other people. And so the fun thing about this is once we know what a behavior is, there are things that we can do to change it. Now, it's sometimes harder to change our personality, but once we know how we communicate, we can change that. So let me start with a little story. We've probably all met with salespeople before. And there are people that we really like when we're talking with them as a salesperson, and other people were like, oh my gosh, please get this person out of my house right now. I don't want to talk to them anymore. And so the tale of two salespeople, I had somebody come into my house wanting to sell me carpet cleaning, and they were talking really, really fast, and they were just very excited, and they were telling me all about the chemical propositions of how their cleaning company was just going to be even better, and they were just talking so fast and using all of these hands, and they were so excited that I was like exhausted by the time they got done talking. And then I had another salesperson who was trying to sell me windows, and when they were talking to me, they were very quiet, and they were showing me and telling me what I needed to know about the efficiencies of the windows, right? And because they were speaking so slowly and they weren't even asking me any questions, I was so bored by the time they finished their presentation that I was like, just get out of my house. That's an hour of my life I'll never get back. And you hardly said anything, right? So we've all been in that experience where we've talked to people who are completely unaware and not even paying attention to what the other person needs from a conversation. So let's dive into what the disc actually is. And I'm going to send Chuck all of these slides so that way he can get these to you. You guys, you don't need to write everything down. But I just want to give you an overview of what the disc behavioral communication style is, how you identify it with yourself, and then how you identify your prospects so you can meet them exactly where they are. So let's first talk about, well, let me go back. So when we look at this matrix, if we look at the north axis, those are people when they communicate, they're going to be fast and aggressive with the way that they communicate. So their speech pattern is going to be a little bit more direct and probably a little faster in the rate of speech. On the south axis, there are my steady and my cautious communicators. When they speak, it is usually going to be very metered and very clear. Then on our, I guess we'd call that east axis, our D's and our C's are thinking and task oriented. So regardless of whether they're speaking fast and aggressive or steady and cautious, they are going to be thinking about what they're saying from a logic standpoint and a numbers standpoint. And then we look at our west axis and our I's and our S's. They are our relationship and our people-oriented communicators. So when they are communicating with people, they are really thinking about the person that they're talking to and using relationship words. So let's dive into each of these specifically. Let's start with our D's. So our D's are going to be our direct communicators. I use D as drill sergeant. So if you think of someone who is very fierce with the way that they talk, you can tell in the pointedness of their communication that they are getting to the point. They use less words than most people because they're just going to net it out for you. So when we think about our clients who are Ds, these are going to be our sellers who just want you to get to the point, net it out, and let them make a decision. They want to make the decision. So be careful with your Ds when you're talking with them. So how you would know if you are a D is you're going to have a growth mindset. You are going to be focused on productivity. You want to see results. So a lot of our D salespeople, they will dial. They'll get no until they get their yes. Cool, I got my results. They want their evaluation to be focused on their personal performance, not necessarily the way that they get to the win, but that they won. They are monetarily driven. They are, again, driven by productivity, and their biggest fear is people wasting their time or trying to take advantage of them. So when we're communicating as a D or with a D, bullet points, straight to the point. Then we have our eyes. Our eyes are our influence people. This is who Hollywood normally portrays real estate agents as. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you to be in my house today. Look at this great kitchen. Look how great you could entertain here. They're going to be our very social, probably going to talk with their hands, be very excited. The way that they talk is bubbly. You can hear the energy in their voice. They're going to be the ones that talk so fast that it's very hard to tell what they're saying. They are motivated by positive reinforcement with compliments. They want a friendly environment, and they sometimes will not like all of the rules that come with social settings and things like that. They want to be a free spirit. So their preferences, so if you are a real estate agent who is a high I, you will need to have some systems in place, because if they plug into a system, it's great. If they have to come up with a system on their own, maybe not so great. They want to have input and dialogue into the conversation, and they want their ideas to be heard, and they like collaborative work environments. So the profile of a high I is someone who wants to have fun in what they're doing. They really love acknowledgement. So recognition is going to be something very important to high Is. Their biggest fear is rejection. And we're going to talk a little bit later about how we lead generate based on our communication style. So this will come back up in that section. So communication style with them is play. Like have fun with the conversation and don't drag them down with too many details. All right, our S's. Most of the US population leads with their S. So if you can't tell, if there's somebody that you're communicating with and you just can't tell what communication style they lead with, treat them as if they're an S. Okay. So these are our steady, stable, dependable communication styles. You will pretty much know where you are, where you stand with an S, because they just want everything to be harmonious. They do not like abrupt changes. They like working with a process. So beginning to end, and within that process, if I do this process, I have the safety security of knowing what's going to happen at the end. They also, like an I, like a collaborative workplace, and they are seeking safety and security. They love approval, and their biggest fear is change. Then we have our C's. These are our detail people. They're very clear in their communication. They are the ones who are thinking through everything before they say something. They will gauge their performance based on how accurate it is and how correct it is versus the output. So if I have a 100% perfect flyer, that is much better than having 5 appointments to a C. Like, the details are very much important. If I'm meeting with a C who is a seller or a buyer, they will want all of the graphs, the facts, the charts. If you put it on a spreadsheet matrix for them, their heart is going to be so happy. They like it when you are systemized and you are organized in the way that you communicate with them. As far as work preferences, they will want tasks that you know exactly what's going to happen beginning to end. They like the technical work. They love to be in front of a computer and be able to just know that if I research this, this is what's going to happen. They will not like confrontation. And if it's confrontation based on emotions, I feel this way, or this is that's hurting my feelings, that will throw them off. Now, if you come at them, well, okay, we're off in our process based on these numbers and these analytics, they'll be okay with that because that helps them make things correct. They will like the evaluation of their work based on facts, not feelings. They are seeking accuracy. So things being correct above anything else is most important. And their biggest fear is criticism. So that's an overview. Now, all of these, I can do in extremes, and yet we know that most people don't communicate in one extreme or another. They're going to be a mashup of all of them. So let's turn to your actual disc, and I'm going to use some of these as an example right now, but go ahead and get yours out because I want to walk through this with you. And so the first page in your disc analysis is going to be how you show up in the way that you communicate. So just give me a thumbs up if you have yours out. Everybody good? Okay. All right. So what you will see is you're going to have 4 bars. So the red is going to be your rating on your dominance. Your I is going to be your rating on your influence. Your S is going to be your rating on your stability, and C on your compliance. Now, we all, as human beings, typically have a first and a second. So I would call anything above that 50% line as the way that you behaviorally communicate. Now, sometimes you're going to have your first and your second are going to be right there with each other. Sometimes you're going to have your first one be way higher than any of the others. And there are some people that have just one above the 50% line, and that's totally fine. So you're probably wondering, okay, why is there a colored line and a gray line? That's the difference between your natural and your adapted style. So your natural style is who you are in your natural habitat. And so what I mean by that is when you're at home, when you're with friends that you've known forever, and you just feel comfortable being who you are, that is your natural style. Your adapted style is if you are in a work situation, or your boss is looking over your shoulder, or maybe you're meeting somebody for the first time, you will probably show up as your adapted style. And that's just because we've learned over time, well, it's not even learned over time, it's just ingrained in us. Through history of time, we've lived in tribes of people, and we wanted to get along with the people in our tribe, because if they kicked us out of our tribe, we would be out there in the wilderness and possibly eaten by a dinosaur. So we wanted to make sure that we adapted our behavior to fit into our group. So that's why we have been able to adapt our communication style over time. All right, so the next page, it's just going to go over what this report is and how it's going to walk out the outline of what it's going to tell you about the way you communicate. All right, so that's the next 2 pages. If you pop over to, I guess this is page 5, it's going to give you some of the words of how you would communicate based on any of these styles. And then it's going to show you your little graph of how you answered. And has everybody had a chance to read theirs yet? Chuck, how long have they had their assessment?
Some of them as late as today, but everybody did receive it, and they should have read through it and at least looked at it. It's a lot.
Okay, it is. Well, I mean, if you're like me, the first time I read it, I'm like, has somebody been creeping over my shoulder? Like, how does it know? I just answered a most and a least of something. And it's like reading my inner thoughts. It kind of freaked me out. So it's going to show you with this graph, whether you are an introvert, an extrovert, a people person, or a task person. So it's going to kind of give your blob of where you fall in the way that you answered these questions. So then it is going to walk you through the 4 components. So everybody's pages are going to look a little different. But what I want you to, as you're looking through this, is look at how you scored. So it'll show what you're the highest on. And then it's going to give you some things to think about. So if you're great at innovation, if sometimes you become argumentative, if sometimes you are gonna vie for different positions. Don't get too set on what it's saying. Try to take kind of a broad view of how you could use this and use your strengths to help you in your business world. So it's going to go through all 4 of the categories and show you what you are most likely to communicate as, and then what you're least likely to communicate as. Okay. So then we're going to get into how you communicate in your natural style. So if everybody can go to their page 11, I want you to just read over your natural style. And then if somebody is feeling brave, I'm going to give you like 2 minutes to read that over. And I'd love for somebody to jump on and say something that they had an aha about in their natural style.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't tell them to have it ready. I wasn't sure.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, and if you don't, that's totally fine.
That one that you have there looks kind of familiar. Maybe we can use that one. Yeah, that's scary. Yeah, and I really did have that feeling when I looked at it, and I'm like, really? I just answered a few little questions, and
Yeah.
you,
How does it know?
yeah.
It took a lot of research for them to come up with this and be able to pinpoint the ways that people communicate and how sometimes we have conflict because of the ways that we communicate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes.
Yeah. So as you read through your natural and your adapted style, it is going to lead you to how does that work in your actual day-to-day life? What are the explanations that, man, if I'm really having a struggle with someone, it's usually because they communicate in a different way than I do, which is causing a gap or some friction in the way that we're communicating with each other.
Hmm.
So when we get into this next page, so on page 13, everybody has their ideas for being more effective. And this will show you sometimes where you get stuck and how you get unstuck. And there are going to be some of them that you read that rub you wrong. Like you're just going to be like, oh, you're going to bristle about it and say, no, that's definitely not me. I found that once I marinated on this a little bit, and then an example, actually real life, would show up and I was like, man, that report was right. And I didn't want it to be right.
Mhm.
So like on this one, the last one, it says, remembering that not everyone shares your high sense of urgency. So there, even with the agents on my team, there are times where I am like 100 miles per hour, let's go, go, go. And I have people on my team who they don't share that urgency. And I would think that, oh man, they're so lazy or they're so whatever. And I would get indignant about it. And I had to realize that that was my priority. That was my urgency. And sometimes the way I was communicating with them was actually slowing them down because they didn't want me dragging them along. Right. So just be careful as you're reading this, not to Heisman it, not to be like, nope, that's definitely not me. Just marinate on it for a second, see how it shows up.
Trust the science, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Next one, the next page, so page 14 for you will be your ideas for staying motivated. So what environment helps you because of the way that you behaviorally communicate? What kind of climate, what kind of recognition do you like? How much freedom do you need? Or do you need more structure in your world? So this gives you some insight, and sometimes it's actually clarifying and takes the pressure off when it's like, oh, I actually do really well when I have somebody saying, just do these things, because it takes the chaos out of my world, because I just know that if I get up, I do my time block, I make these 5 calls, I do my 10-10-5, I know that I'm going to be successful today. I'm going to win today. And if I win 4 days in a row, this is really awesome. And even better if I win 5 days in a row. But having that structure for some people really helps. All right, so strength-based insights. This is where you're going to have some self-awareness.
Andrea, is your screen, are you still on slide 7?
Oh my goodness, have you guys not been seeing exactly what I'm seeing?
Maybe it's
Okay.
just me. Is anybody
Oh
else?
my
No,
goodness.
see, I have not been seeing what you're talking about.
Okay.
So I've been
Oh
scrolling
my
through my
gosh,
phone.
thank you.
I was scrolling through my phone because I was afraid to scroll through the screen. And I was trying to keep up and I couldn't
I
find
just
it.
realized, I've had
Oh
this.
my goodness, thank you guys so much. I am so sorry.
we-
Let's,
we're still seeing page 7. Okay.
all
Yeah,
right,
so
let's,
it well,
Yeah,
all right.
I thought we were still talking on that page. Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay, so sorry. Thank you guys.
All
Okay,
right. Yeah.
so now
Okay.
can you see page 2?
yes, I can
Okay,
see page 2.
perfect. Oh my goodness,
Yes.
I'm so sorry, you guys. Um,
No worries.
all right, so this is your graph.
Thank you.
So this is page 2 in your disc, in your report. And so
Yes.
right here is going to be the 50, the halfway point. So if somebody were to say, what is your disc communication style? It's going to be, what is your score above the midline? So what is above that 50%? So this disc that we're looking at right now, they are a DI. Okay. And you'll see their natural style is 99% D and 84% natural style D, or adapted style. And then on their I, they're 99% I, 67% adapted style. Oh my goodness. I'm embarrassed. I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even show them the right thing.
No, it's the technology.
Okay. Yep. Perfect. Okay. So this is that graph that I was talking about, that it shows you the blob of whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, a people person or a task person. And you'll see that it's not all one piece of the pie. You kind of merge blob into different categories.
Hmm.
And so then it's going to walk you through each of your D, I, S, and C, and show you with your score what that gives you tendencies for in the way that you communicate. So you'll see it'll walk you through each of the D, I, S, and C. And each of them come with strengths and weaknesses. So you'll see that if you had a higher C, you'd show up this way. Because you have a lower C, this is how you tend to operate.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's where we were talking about the natural style and then adapted style patterns. All right, and so now we are in your packet, page 13, and that is your ideas for being more effective. So knowing how you just naturally communicate, these are tips for you to be more effective in not only your work, but in how you communicate with your kids, how you communicate with your spouse. I felt like once I had my husband take this, it was like marriage counseling in 2 packets. Like, he got to read the things that where I was ineffective at, and I could read that with his, and it gave me some grace to be like, oh my gosh, that's just the way you communicate. You're not trying to be annoying. And I totally get it now. Like, there are times where I want to punch you in the face, you want to punch me in the face, just because that's just the way we communicate, and we're not trying to be annoying. But we would show up as annoying.
Let me jump in here right quick.
Yes, please.
To everybody on the call here, you have the link. You can use that for your spouse. It's
Yes.
okay. It's okay. That's part of the coaching is a holistic approach.
Please do. I mean, like, oh my gosh, we turn some corners when we just use this as a tool to communicate with each other about things. And use this with everybody that you work with in business. If you have an admin, if you are on a team, you need to know this about each other, because when we don't have clarity on the way we communicate with each other, that is when we have tension. That is when we have misunderstandings. That when we have conflict with each other. Okay, so then our strength-based insights. This is page 15. And so each style And let me tell you this, there's not one style that is better than the other. There's not one behavioral communication pattern that is better. We have to have all of them, especially when we're in a sales business. I suck at details. I just do. I have to have an admin who loves numbers, loves details, because that's not my strength. I am the communicator, I am the driver, but I need somebody in my life who is the other half of me, right? So this is going to show us what our strengths are based on how we communicate. So you'll be able to see that. This is the page where you're like, oh yeah, I'm awesome. Then you're going to see on page 16 your ideal climate. So what are the environments that you excel the most in? And then this is the page after we brought you up and you got to brag about all the things you're awesome at. We have to spend a little bit of time looking at what are areas that we need to be aware of and continually improve. And this is the page that I was saying. Some of them are like, stab to the heart. I don't feel that that's true. And yet they would show up and I'd be like, oh, damn, that report was right. All right. So as Chuck, for you as a coach, these are going to be the most important things as you're working with everyone. You need to know this about these. So how are the best ways that they want to learn and receive knowledge and receive communication? And it's also going to give you insight as to how your people best train and share knowledge. Because I've looked at you guys, your all's discs. You guys are amazing. And each of you have your own strength and ability that you can bring to the office and share your knowledge with other people. So I'm excited for Chuck to be able to shine a light on all of your strengths. All right. So this is the marriage page. These are the effective communication, how people should effectively communicate with you. Yeah, page 19.
Okay.
This is the I love you spouse page, right?
Right.
So these are things, and anybody that you work with in a team setting, in a work setting, ways to avoid communicating and ways to effectively communicate with people. This is like the golden ticket of building rapport with someone, is when you're able to meet them in their quadrant. And then it has the last few pages are just reference pages for you to just ask questions. After you've read this report, get curious about yourself, get curious about your report. Okay, so that I just wanted to walk you through an overview of the packet itself. So now let's not mess up my sharing anymore. And we'll go back to our slideshow. There we go. Cool.
There we go.
All right. So now you know a little bit more about yourself, and I really want you to take some time, really get into that packet and learn about yourself. Because the more
step in here.
Please.
A couple of people have said that they didn't get their packet. Just text me and I'll send it to you right now. So if you do not get a copy of your report, just let me know and I'll send it to you right now.
Yep. All right. So knowing ourselves, that's first and foremost, because we can't relate to other people until we have been able to relate with ourselves and be able to know ourselves and communicate with other people. Sorry, I'm in a hallway and somebody's playing a piano. All right. All right.
No.
So when we're working with a D style, so this is our driver, our dedicated person, get to business quickly. They don't care about what you did over the weekend. They don't care about your kids necessarily yet. So if I've identified somebody, so let's say I have my seller lead sheet. I got a referral and I'm going to talk to Jimmy, and Jimmy gets on the phone and he says, I need to sell my house. And I say, great. When do you want me to come over? And he says 7 p.m. Awesome. What are the most important things for us to talk about? I just need to know the price and when you can get it sold. Okay. That's giving me a clue that this person is a D, right? So when I get to Jimmy's house, I'm probably going to do a very fast walkthrough, but I need to get straight to the tasks at hand. He said he wants me to get the best price and he wants me to do it quickly, right? So I have to be okay with him being very direct in the way that he communicates. He's going to ask what questions. What are you going to do to get my house sold? What are the steps that it's going to take? What price are you going to get for me? Okay. With my D, I need to educate and let them know that it is their decision. I'm just here to facilitate the decision that they've had. Okay. They will want to see my track record. They will want to see that I've won for other people so I can win for them. Okay. All right. So moving to our I style. Now, same seller lead sheet. I got a referral and they've referred me to Susie. Great. I'm going to get on the phone with Susie. Hey, Susie, this is Andrea with XYZ Realty. Sally gave me your number, said you were thinking about getting your house sold. She'd say, oh my gosh, I just love Sally. We went to a sorority together and she's just so amazing. And I just love her to death. And yeah, she said that you were awesome and that you were going to come help me. And man, I'm really nervous about all of this. And I can't wait for you to come over. All right. So did you hear the bubbly and did you hear the fast? Yeah. Right. So just with that intake sheet, I kind of have an idea of what I'm walking into. So when I'm meeting with Susie, I can't come in and say, you need to do this, this, and this, and this, right? She needs me to be social with her. She's the one who does want to know about my kids. She does want to know about my family. She wants to feel like she knows me before she's going to do business with me. Okay. With an I, she said she was nervous. She said she was nervous about the process. I'm going to have to empathize. Man, I totally get it. Moving is stressful and all of the packing and all of the details. And then we inspire them. But think about where you're moving to. I remember you told me that you're just running out of space and your kids are so darling and they're so excited about going to the next school. So being with their friends who are at this other school, that becomes important. So I'm inspiring them to do the hard things to get where they need to go. Okay. They need to look good and be right. So finding any chance that I can to help them look good and be right. Ooh, that's where we need to be. All right. So our C's. Now, same seller intake sheet. And this is Steve, and he is referred to me by Jim. I'm like, great, Steve, nice to talk to you on the phone. I'm going to be coming over to help you. And he's going to say, great. I live at 1234 Main Street. My home is 3,744 square feet. I have 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and my lot size is 8,725 square feet.
Mm.
Do you hear all the details?
Just had one of those. Oh my
yes.
God.
Yes. So that's why I love the intake sheet, because it helps give me an idea of what all I need to have prepared for this person. Okay, so because he was giving me very direct numbers, he was very clear in the way he communicated. I'm hearing, okay, he's probably going to be a C or an SC, somewhere along that line. So just like my D, because he's thinking task-oriented and not people relationship-oriented, I need to be tactful and business-like. I need to have more ammo in my tool belt to bring at him. So if I'm showing him all of the comparisons and I am making sure that they know all of the days on the market, the list to sale price ratio, and I'm giving all that information to them, they are going to feel very supported and held in that. They will ask a lot of why questions, so be prepared to answer all of those, and they want to have options. So option A, B, C, summarize, and then let them decide. One more thing about C's. C's and S's are my ones where they would rather make zero decision than a bad decision. So we have to give them enough logic to help them make an emotional decision. All right. Whereas my I's and S's, our I's and D's are a little backwards. They're already making an emotional decision. They need the logic to back it up. All right. So then we have our S style. Again, remember our S's are our people relationship oriented people. They again they like things steady, stable, dependable. So I'm toning down and I'm putting some softer edges on the way that I communicate with them. I'm going to be methodical. I don't want to rock the boat or make them nervous. So when I'm going through my packet, it's going to be all the way through. Every page I'm going to go through. I'm going to be asking them questions, because if they haven't told me an objection, that means I'm probably not winning. So they will be, I call it Midwest polite because I live in Kansas City. I don't know if you guys have Midwest polite or any kind of polite where they just will smile and nod at you. It's kind of like a little bless your heart, and they won't tell you why they're not choosing you. They're just going to smile and nod. So with my S's, I have to get to the point where they give me some objections, or they say, yes, I'm ready to move forward. So they will want to know that you're not just going to list their house and bounce. They want to know that you are going to be with them the entire process, that you're going to have a weekly phone call with them, that you're going to help them through all of the inspections, help them with the closings, all of those things. Okay. Questions about those? All right. So let's go over kind of just some stats. If you look at our percentages on the right-hand side, this is Americans' percentages of who's what communication style. Our Ds are 18% of the United States population. Our S's are 32%. Our I's are 34%, and our C's are 16%. So that's why I said if you can't tell, they're probably going to be an S, because our I's are usually more outgoing. They're going to be talking a little bit faster. But if they just seem like right in the middle there, where they're not too fast, they're not too slow, they're not too aggressive, they're not too laid back, they're probably going to be an S. All right. Then on the left-hand side of our page, the reason we care when it comes to real estate is I think of it as seats on the bus. Now, there are some driver seats, there are some other seats on the bus, and when we know how people communicate, and as far as a real estate team, I know that I can plug them into the right seat at the right time, so they love their job and they love their life. If I put somebody who is a D or an I into a very technical, detailed position, they could do it. They could force themselves to do it, but they're not going to like it long term. And same with an SC. If I put an SC in a job where they have to get excited and they have to use a lot of words all the time, they could do it for short term, but they're not going to enjoy it as much. All right, so let's look at these different roles on a real estate team. An executive assistant. This is going to be somebody who I need them to have C in their top 2. So what I mean by that is they have to be a detailed analytical person in at least their top 2. So my favorite executive assistant would be an SC or a CS. Another one would be a CSD, which is a really odd combo, which we'll talk about here in a second. A transaction coordinator, so someone who is just doing file compliance and all of that for a real estate team. Again, SCCS. Lead buyer specialist. This is the person who's going to have buyers in their car every single day. They're going to be doing lead generation and talking to buyers. They need to have I in at least their top 2. So IS is the best for a lead buyer specialist, because they're not going to be as driven as an ID. I'm okay with them being an ID, but typically they're going to want to move faster than an IS. Does that make sense? And then our showing assistant is going to be pretty similar to a lead buyer specialist. Then our lead listing specialist, an ID or a DI. And the reason I need that D in there is sellers need to feel your ferocity. They need to feel that you have the tenacity and the aggressiveness to sell their largest investment that they ever make in their life. So they're going to need a little bit of that driver. And the cool thing is if you know that you are an IS, can you show up as a D in that presentation? Heck yes, you can. So that was my mistake. Hello, I am Andrea. When I first started real estate, I would show up at a listing presentation and I would want those sellers to be my friend. Do they need to be my friend? No. Do they necessarily want to be my friend? No. Do they want to know that I can sell their house for the most money with the least amount of time, with the least amount of frustration for them? Heck yes. Right? So even though I knew that I wasn't a D in that presentation, I would act as if. Okay. And then our lead coordinator. So this is someone who's going to be doing traffic control for our listings or our contracts, a CS or an SCI. Okay. All right. So let's talk about lead generation. So how does this help us make more money? Anybody excited about making more money?
Hello.
I am. All right. So our mantra, if I am a D or an I, my mantra when it comes to lead generation is go get it. I'm not waiting around for the phone to call. I want to figure out, how do I get out there and how do I have somebody that I can work with right now, because I want business right now. So our I's and S's, so again, our right axis, sorry, it's backwards for you guys, is our I's and S's are people relationship oriented. So if I'm an I, I'm going to be go get it. And I want to work with a lot of people. If I'm a D, I am go get it, but I'm going to be thinking task oriented, not so much cared about people. Not that they don't care about people. They're usually not going to have a lot of relationship. They'd rather do the things, the actions to get the business. And then our SC axis is it comes to me. So they're going to do any lead generation methods that they need to in order to have business call. So have somebody call them or have somebody show up at the office to do business. All right, so let's go one by one through each of these quadrants. So if I'm an I and my mantra is go get it and I'm people relationship oriented, and this is where you guys, if you want to come off mute and shout some things out, this would be the time. So if I am go get it and people relationship oriented, what would you say is a lead generation method that I'm going to feel most comfortable with?
Come on now, y'all got a lot to say. This is time to get your questions in.
A D?
Yeah, so if I am people relationship oriented and I am go get it, one of the lead generation methods that I'm going to love is networking. I'm going to be at every happy hour of any business ever. I am going to be going on like I'm gonna be calling the people that are in my database and saying, hey, let's go get coffee, or hey, let's go get lunch. Anything I can do from a networking standpoint, that is going to be my jam for lead generation if I am an I. Okay. Another thing that they are really great at is being volunteering. So somebody who is an I, because they're go get it and they're people relationship oriented, they want to be, it's like Ariel, I want to be where the people are. They just want to do anything where they can be where people are, and they're going to be branded. Like they're wearing their realtor stuff everywhere. They want everybody to know that they are in real estate and they can help people. Another thing that I's will love to do, and let me take that back. They may not love to do it, but they love the results that they get, is door knocking. So an I, because they are proactive, they want to go get business and bring it back. They are willing to, before an open house, they're willing to door knock before the open house to say, hey, I've got Bob and Patty Smith's house for sale. They're of course wanting me to make sure that everybody knows about their open house. I'd love for you to show up. They love that, because they get to be eyeball to eyeball with somebody, and they know that they're probably not going to slam the door in their face. And even if they did, there's something wrong with them, not me. I'm cool. Right. So another one that I's like probably would be, well, open houses, because again, they're going to be where the people are, but it's a little bit more passive. So open houses would live both in the I and the S category. And subdivisions for sure would be in the S category, because they can sit on a new home subdivision, have people come to them and be able to sell a product and get to meet people. So while we're on S's, S's are again going to be our people relationship oriented, and they're going to say it comes to me. So our S's, handwritten notes, volunteering, again, anywhere they can be helping and be with people, they're going to love that. They will make phone calls and handwritten notes, but it's not going to be outright asking for business. It is going to be where they're going to say, I was just thinking of you. I saw on Facebook that your mom passed away, and I just wanted to say I'm so very sorry. Is there anything I can bring over? Can I bring you some food? They are in that, like, I love my database, I love my people ways of lead generation. All right, so let's go back up to our go get it proactive and our thinking task oriented. So our D's. If our D's are thinking task oriented, do you think they're door knocking? Probably not. They're going to be my phone warriors. My D's will love to be on the phone because it's the fastest way that they know to find business, because they can just smile and dial and call. And they know that every no that they get is leading them closer to their yes. So they're going to be calling for sale by owners. They're going to be calling expireds. They're going to be circle prospecting around listings. They're probably going to be making a lot of business to business phone calls. That vendor database is huge for them because those other people on the other end of the phone are in the same gig as they are. So my vendor database is one of my best sources of referrals because they're small businesses too. So my electrician sends me five to 10 people a year. I send him 30 to 40, but I mean, in relation to dollar cost averages, I think we're doing okay. They will also be making phone calls to attorneys, probate attorneys, divorce attorneys, HR managers, anybody that they know who is in the flow of traffic of somebody who is either coming or going to the town. Then our C's, they are thinking task oriented, and our it comes to me. So their mantra is the return on investment. So it is whatever I'm doing, whatever I'm throwing money at, is it making my phone ring in proportion that I need? So the return on investment that a C is looking for, and everything has got to be trackable, because if they can't track the dollars turning into results, that's wasted money to them. So they are looking at, if I spend $1,000, I need at least $4,000 return of that. And that will be pay-per-click, that will be ads, Google ads, that will be postcards if they're sending out postcards to a neighborhood, any mailers, those are all going to be trackable. And they will know on every campaign, and down to, like, if they're doing a pay-per-click ad, they're probably going to do one that has a cool color scheme and one that has a warm color scheme, and they're going to be able to track just based on the colors which one performs better. That's how detailed a C is going to be with the way that they lead generate. Okay, now, does it mean that you can't do another style of lead generation? Absolutely not. This just gives you, like, when I first started real estate, they gave me a phone book and a phone, and they said have fun. And I'm like, what? And I was thought, oh my gosh, I'm probably not going to make it in real estate because I don't want to call strangers. There is a lead generation style for everyone. And so by knowing how you're most comfortable in the way you communicate, start there. So start with the things that you're most comfortable with, then you can branch out to other things. Just know that if you need money right now, you need to act as if you are a D and an I. Because we don't have time to be reactive. I don't have 6 months to wait to see if a mailer campaign or a farming campaign is going to work for me. I need to go get business now, which means I need to go talk to the people in my world right now to say, I'm here to help people. Who do you know that needs my help? Okay. Do we have anybody who's less than a year in the business?
Come on, raise your hand if you've been in less than a year. Speak up or forever hold your peace. Don't make me come over there.
Yes.
All right. Perfect. All right. So this is for my friends who are brand new in the business. What I tell all of my new agents less than a year is you have an appointment every single week, whether it's real or fake. What I mean by that is if you do not have somebody who you are actually doing a listing or a buyer consultation with, you are calling your friends, you are calling your family members, you are calling anybody that's in your phone book, and you're saying, hey, Chuck, I need your help. I just got started in real estate and my coach is making me do an experiment. Will you be able to help me?
Mm-hmm.
And Chuck's going to say, well, yeah, I mean, you're my family. I have to help you. Okay, great. So what I am challenged to do is, I mean, you own your house. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some research on what your home would sell for in today's market. And then where you come in and the gifts that you can give me is I'm going to give you my presentation, and I need you to be brutal with me. I need you to just tell me what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong, how I could improve. Okay. Because Chuck knows me as his niece. He knows me as that little brat who was, playing with frogs as a little kid. He doesn't know me as a real estate professional. So I get to do two things in this appointment. I get practice, and I get Chuck to see me as a real estate professional. How cool is that?
That is
right?
awesome.
So real or fake, have an appointment every single week. because you're going to get really good at it. And like a surgeon, how many of you would love, I mean, is anybody signing up, just standing in line for a surgeon who's never performed a heart surgery before? Be like, sign me up, please. I would love to be your guest, you know, your guinea pig. Anybody? No. So we shouldn't be doing that either. That's malpractice. If we are practicing our presentation on our consumers, practice with your family, practice with your friends. Let them help you become professional. And it helps you show them that this is not just another thing that you're trying, that you are in it, you are here, and you are professional, and you are showing them like, oh man, they actually have this down. They're also going to know what their house is worth. You become people's financial advisor for their largest investment, their house. How cool. All right. All right. So this is my wrap up. Anybody who is a high I, please don't stab me. So how most people tell a story, how a high I tells a story. Anybody feeling that one?
Yeah.
All right. So I was looking over everybody's discs, and we have a lot of CSs and SCs. And so my advice for any of my SCs and CSs is do something outside of your comfort zone every single day. And it's going to feel uncomfortable, and that means that's where the growth is. So just jump into the challenge. You're going to love it. So the reason that we talk about the way people communicate is I can give honor and respect to other people by not imposing my communication pattern on someone else. I'm able to show them that I care more about them, to communicate and mirror and match what they do. So if I'm meeting with a client who speaks softer and slower than I do, it might kill me, but I need to make sure that I am matching what they do. If I have a husband and wife who are both completely different, honor both of them. And you'll be surprised. A lot of times we'll walk into a husband and wife situation, and we're going to vibe with one of them, and we're just going to be like, or if, you know, because we forget that the other person communicates differently. All right. So if one person is that steady, stable, dependable, and wants to hear the safety and the security, give that to them. And the other person needs facts and details, give that to them. And you're going to leave that appointment, and they're going to be like, man, I really liked her. And the other one's going to say, you know what? I actually did too, which is usually not the experience, because we usually just cater to one or the other. Okay. Thoughts, questions? I know I threw a lot at you today.
let me burp my brain here. Make some room. Wow. One thing I had a question on, you mentioned the intake sheet. So
Yes.
is that an internal document, or what is that?
I will share that with you. So I have a buyer intake sheet and a seller intake sheet. And anytime I am referred to someone or I have an internet lead, that is the first thing that I do with them, for two reasons. One, I'm setting the tone that I have a system for everything. Two, it's when I get all the data that I need to wow them in my buyer consultation or my listing consultation. They're already giving me the keys to the castle with just the questions that I ask.
There you go. Wow. Come on. Okay, we're open for questions now.
Yep, bring it on.
Yeah. Please ask her. Don't ask me, because all I'm going to do is wait and ask her once a week.
Andrea, do you have an intake sheet that's shareable or with us?
Yes.
She just
Yep.
said she's going to share it. She's going to give that to me, and then I'll share it with you guys.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm happy to.
And it has the questions and the I guess the direction in which we should be. Okay.
It does. Yeah. So it basically acts as a script, because you're just going to go through and ask all of these questions. I always do it. So buyers, I would say I do it 75% of the time, sellers 100% of the time, because I don't want to walk into a listing presentation and realize that they just added 600 square feet in basement finish, or that they've never painted their house in 10 years, or that, they've never made any updates.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Of course, those are the ones with no updates and feel that their house will still sell with the fully refurbished house
For sure. Mine's so much better than my neighbor's house, don't you know?
All right, come on, some more questions now. We got about 3 minutes, and then she has to go do back with all the good stuff that she's doing for the Realtors Association. In two
I
seconds.
I have one
I have a
other
question.
question. Oh, I was going to
Go ahead.
say, I'm going to ask quickly, is
Sure.
there a specific time limit or that you give yourself when doing that intake? Or
No,
do you
if we're having a good
let it flow?
conversation, yeah, let it flow. If I'm working with a D, I'm going to be fast. Like I'm just going to rapid fire. I'm not going to get all social and stuff.
Okay,
So let them take the lead.
okay.
Somebody else
Tyler?
had a question?
Yeah, I had a question. So on
Yeah.
the intake sheet, is the question, I know we did the assessment to determine what our communication style is. On the intake sheet, does that give you any kind of insight into what their communication style is so you know how to communicate with them?
Yeah. So at the bottom, I think I have, are you a fast talker, slow, detailed, or steady? I think I have that on the bottom of there, but let me just give you some examples. So if I am doing a seller intake sheet and they say, I'm looking forward to talking with you. We need to sell our house because I really want to get my kids into a better school district that has better test scores, and I really want a house that's closer to the bus stop because it's going to be safer for my kids. Am I talking fast or slow? Slower. Am I talking details or safety and security? Safety and security. Okay, so I'm thinking of my graph, north and south, fast and aggressive. South is steady and dependable, or steady and cautious. Then whether it's people or task. So because she was talking slower and she was talking about people and relationship, I'm thinking, okay, she's probably an S. If I'm talking with someone who again tells me that they have 3,425 square feet in their house. All 3 levels are hardwood floors, and they start just giving me all these numbers, and they're 0.5 miles away from the closest Quick Trip or whatever. I know that they're probably, because they're talking slower and softer and they're giving me facts and numbers, they're probably a C. Okay. If they're really excited and they can't wait to have me come over, and oh my gosh, they just painted their house the most gorgeous shade of silver, like it was the hot color in all of the fashion magazines, they're probably an I. All right. So just by the rate of speech, I can pretty much guess 50-50. So at Chuck, what I'll do is I'll also send you kind of a what to look for or questions that they might ask.
Okay, cool, perfect.
All right. Thank you guys so much for having me join you guys today. We could probably talk about this for 3 or 4 hours, but we just had an hour, so.
That's good.
We got a lot to chew on until the next time. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Well, if you think of more questions, let Chuck know. He can send me some messages and I'll get info back to you.
Yep. All right.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chuck.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Get back to all these.
Thank you.